What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, looking at the sneak peek promo card for Maximum Crisis, and this is kind of nuts because, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we have any idea when the sneak peek preview is going to be? Like, what weekend is that? Obviously, right here, we see the poster, which I would have to assume has just been leaked. Like, I mean, I don't doubt that this is from Konami and that Konami probably sent this to, like, you know, stores and whatnot, but I don't think that they were supposed to give this information out because, again, it doesn't even have a date here, so it's kind of crazy that we already know what the preview card is going to be, despite the fact that, unless I'm mistaken, we have no idea when that sneak peek preview weekend is actually going to be. Again, if I'm mistaken, guys, feel free to correct me. The preview card is called Pendulum Switch. It is a trap. Obviously, it is Pendulum support, and it does really make sense for Konami to put this in Maximum Crisis. Obviously, Maximum Crisis is the last set from the Arc V era, and, you know, it wouldn't really make sense for them to put a Pendulum support card in Code of the Duelist because, obviously, by the time Code of the Duelist comes to the TCG, not only will Pendulums get that super nerf with the new rules, but their focus is going to be like the link mechanic and promoting brains and link summoning monsters and stuff like that. So, you know, Pendulums aren't going to be too hot then. So it's like, this is the last of the Arc V era. It definitely should have been a card that promotes Pendulum summoning. For what's it called? For Raging Tempest to get Fusion Recycling Plant was just kind of weird to me, considering that set is so heavily focused on like seeing with Zodiac and whatnot. Anyways, this is Pendulum Switch. And is that Time Blazer Magician? I think it is. On the artwork, looking like a Stone Cold Assassin there. Continuous trap card. You can target one card in your Pendulum zone, special summon it. You can target one Pendulum monster in your monster zone, place it in your Pendulum scale or your Pendulum zone. You can only use one Pendulum switch effect per turn and only once that turn. Okay, so this is kind of like a neat little ability that lets you jump your monsters to the Pendulum zones, jump your Pendulum zone monsters into the field. I mean, I think it's okay. I would say this, it would be a hell of a lot better if Karen was still in the game, because the first thing that came to my mind was, wait a minute, okay, so I can normal summon Bumbunku, and then I can search out Karen, and then I could, you know, put Karen, or I could put the Bumbunku in the Pendulum scale, and that would be pretty good, because then we could possibly set up for a Pendulum summon if I didn't already have enough cards to Pendulum summon. But, you know, with that out of the game, I think that this card will probably be more useful for like dodging things. Like, let's just say that you normal summon and your opponent activates something like Torrential Tribute. You can take that Pendulum monster that was going to die and you could hop it in your Pendulum zone, and then you could try and Pendulum summon. Or if your opponent's going to attack a Pendulum monster, you can put it in the Pendulum zone. Or just, you know, there are certain things like the DDD Ragnarok. Like, that's a really good card to use the Pendulum effect and then activate this and then just jump it out of the Pendulum zone and special summon it. I know DDD can already do that, but, you know, it might be a little slow on something like DDD because it is a trap. I thought maybe that this card would be better as a continuous spell, because then you'd be able to activate it immediately. But then if you kind of did that, you wouldn't be able to dodge your opponent's like attacks during their turn. You wouldn't be able to use it during your turn, or during your opponent's turn, which I think is kind of like an upside. I mean, overall, I'm trying to think of what you would run this in. Maybe something like Pendulum Magicians might work. I mean, if you summon like a Toon Magician, obviously if you Pendulum summon like a Toon Magician, she can bring out like another card, but at that point, you probably already have your Pendulum skills like full because you just Pendulum summon, so that doesn't work. I'm trying to think of really good applications to use this card. I think that it's just going to be a card that is like really niche. I don't know if it'll really see any play. I don't think so. It seems like it would have to have like a really strong archetype that would kind of revolve around. Like the only archetype that I think that would make really good use for this is Magispectors, because a lot of times you don't want those dudes taking direct attacks, and, you know, that deck is notoriously known for, if it loses its scales, it basically loses. So I could definitely see situations where you've got a couple of Magispectors on the field, and maybe you don't want to take an attack with a Magispector, and you're like, fuck it, I'd rather take a direct attack than lose my Fox. I'd rather just go ahead and put my Fox in the scale so that I can Pendulum summon next turn, and if Magispectors can obviously, you know, keep Pendulum summoning, they can pretty much outgrind most decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! But what do you guys think of this card? I mean, I think that it's appropriate for the timing and Maximum Crisis. It's an okay card. It's not a great card, not a fantastic card. I really don't think it'll see much play, but it's an interesting card. And yeah, after thinking a little bit more about it, I think that it is kind of better as a continuous trap, because then you could use it during your opponent's turn. If it was a continuous spell, it'd have been a lot faster, but then it would lose that utility. So let me know what you guys think of the card. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already.